When human power crumbles underneath you, where will you place your hope? Welcome to the Daily Devo. I am Vince Miller. We have arrived, our final devotional in 1 Samuel chapter 31, verses 11 through 13. I'll get to that in just a second. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to begin some Christmas devotionals. I hope you'll share those with your friends and your family, et cetera, et cetera. Also, right after that, for a couple of weeks, we'll do that, and then we'll begin the book of James immediately after Christmas. So make sure you go to the website, grab the scripture journal for that study. So for today, let's read verses 11 through 13. It reads, "But when the inhabitants of Jabesh-gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Beth-shan, and they came to Jabesh and burned them there. Then they took their bones and buried them under the tamarisk tree in Jabesh and fasted 7 days." At the close of 1 Samuel, we read about kind of an unexpected act of courage in the shadow of tremendous tragedy. The brave men of Jabesh-gilead, the very people Saul once delivered from shame and destruction in his first act as king, way back in chapter 11, if you remember that, embark on this daring mission to retrieve the desecrated bodies of Saul and his sons. Risking their lives, literally risking their lives, they travel through enemy territory to honor the memory of the king who had once been their redeemer. They bury his bones beneath a tamarisk tree, which is a very poignant reminder of Saul's rise and fall. And the moment here is so rich with contrasts. I mean, once Saul sat under a tamarisk tree. Do you remember that? A spear in hand, commanding authority. And now he remains at rest underneath one. A reminder of our human fragility and the futility of misplaced hope. The people's demand for a king, like all the other nations, well, ends with that king stripped of glory, buried at night, burned in ashes, and buried under, well, a tamarisk tree. Yet this is the end of 1 Samuel, but not the end of the story. I mean, Saul's death right here points us forward, is what it does. While Saul's kingdom was shattered by sin and pride and disobedience, David's rise offers hope. But even David, Israel's greatest king, would fall short. He had a few failings, if you remember. And no matter how noble, every human king serves as a shadow of the true king to come. Centuries later, as another king would face humiliation, stripped and mocked by his enemies, his body hung on a tree for public scorn. But unlike Saul or any of Israel's subsequent kings, Jesus bore no sin. He died not for failure, but for the redemption of our failure. His death was not the end, but the turning point in all of history. Rising from the grave, he defeated death, securing a kingdom that would never fade. We end 1 Samuel right here, learning one central and vital lesson. Here it is. Hope in kings and presidents and leaders will fail, but hope in the King, who is Jesus, will always prevail. That's the whole point of this book. Hope in kings and presidents and leaders will always fail, but hope in King Jesus will prevail. Don't put ultimate hope in human power. It will let you down every single time, I promise you. We're going to be let down by our next president and the next one and the next one and the next one, just like we have with past presidents. But only King Jesus reigns with perfect justice, eternal love, and unshakable victory. Saul's tamarisk marked his end, but Christ's empty tomb marks a beginning, a king with a kingdom without end. How about that for a story? How about that for a conclusion? I love you guys. I pray this story has blessed you. You can put this now on your shelf. Get that James scripture journal so you're ready for our next series. I love you. Be blessed today, and Merry Christmas.